Hello everyone, welcome to LolKing's Pick of the Week. My name is Shakraz, and each week we'll be highlighting a champion that we think is really strong in the current meta, whether its popularity comes from ranked games, competitive play, or even both. Today we look at Kayle, played in both solo lanes. So Kayle always finds a way to come back as a strong pick, and while her kit hasn't been getting any buffs, item and mastery changes are the main reason behind her being so strong right now. She's had a couple of games in competitive and with good showings from Echo Fox's KFO and Maki's Bobo, but overall she remains mainly as a pick for ranked games. Let's start with her setup. For runes you want to run attack speed marks, health per level seals, cooldown per level glyphs, 2 attack speed quintessences, and 1 cooldown per level quintessence. Now, I'll preface this by saying that Kayle's rune page is highly situational and will depend on playstyle and itemization. If you don't have many rune pages, you can run 3 attack speed quintessences instead. AP quintessences used to be the norm on Kayle, but with the ratio nerfs it's no longer worth it. For seals, you can run armor versus AD matchups, or flat health for early laning. The idea behind this rune setup is that it grants you 20% cooldown reduction at level 18, meaning you only need Nashor's Tooth to cap out your CDR. For Masteries, you want to run 18-12-0 with Fervor of Battle as your keystone mastery. Might not make much sense on a champion that mainly does magic damage, but Kayle's Righteous Fury can grant up to 3 stacks with 1 auto attack, meaning you can stack it up extremely fast and add a lot of physical damage, making you a mixed damage threat. 18-0-12 is also a valid alternative if you want extra defensive stats and lower cooldown on flash. Kayle's skill order is versatile as well. Nowadays you won't see Reckoning, your Q, being maxed first after the nerfs, but it's still a possibility. For most situations, you should be maxing your E, Righteous Fury, first. What's maxed second is totally dependent on playstyle and on the game. Personally, I like to max Divine Blessing second for strong roam potential and skirmishing strength with potent heals, but the most common route is to max Reckoning second for extra damage. It's up to you. As for your item build, Nashor's Tooth and Rageblade are your 2 absolutely core items, and ideally you should really try to have them as your first 2 items as well. This isn't always possible, as you might need an early Abyssal Scepter against certain matchups. Rylai's Crystal Scepter is a great item on Kayle, as it will give her a lot of tankiness and also a perma-slow on her E, Righteous Fury, as she will apply a 40% slow on each auto attack. For boots, you should pick between Berserker's Greaves if you want more DPS, Swiftness if you want extra mobility, and Mercury's Treads against heavy CC spells like Rammus's Taunt or Morgana's Dark Binding. Ionian boots aren't really needed with the rune setup I gave, but they're a super strong pickup if you need more cooldown reduction. After that, your build is extremely situational and will depend on the game. Attack speed items are extremely strong for Kayle, as they will help you stack Rageblade faster. Witsend is a great item that will give you a ton of attack speed and will help you shred targets even faster while giving you magic resistance. Rapid Fire Cannon will give you extra range and a magic damage burst, and Runon's Hurricane will make you do AoE damage. Runon's is also a great item when paired with Rylai's, as you can slow up to 3 targets. The bolts also apply Fervor of Battle stacks. Aside from that, you want to complete your build with either defensive or AP items. Deathcap is still a good purchase to increase burst, and Lichbane still does its job. Zhonya's is only really needed if you really need armor or want to be more selfless with your ultimate. Void Staff if you're playing against a double or triple tank composition, and Quicksilver Sash into a Mercurial Scimitar is a good situational item if you want to cleanse a CC so you can ult without being stun locked to death. Now that we have Kayle's setup out of the way, let's talk about how she fares in different stages of the game. In the early game and in the top lane, Kayle can really be a bully. With Righteous Fury and Fervor of Battle, she can outtrade most champions. Most meta picks right now are tanks, and Kayle has favorable matchups into all of them, but you should watch out for Fiora, Quinn, and Jax, as they can beat you in lane. In the mid lane, Kayle doesn't really have a matchup that will straight up kill her, but mages like Lux, Ziggs, or Yana and Anivia can definitely give her a hard time in lane. However, Kayle's issue isn't with lane matchups, it's mainly with jungle pressure. She's very susceptible to ganks, especially in top lane where the lane is longer. Warding is definitely key to make sure you're not ganked and killed. If you fall behind, it's going to be tough for you to get back into the game. Mid-game is when you start shining. The completion of Rageblade is an extremely strong power spike, and it only gets better from there. Start looking for skirmishes whenever your ultimate is up. Kayle is an extremely strong duelist and can win most small fights with a good ultimate. By late game, Kayle becomes a monster, in a good way. Her passive allows her to shred tanks, and a fully stacked Rage Blade with Righteous Fury will dispatch squishy targets easily. In teamfights, you should focus on trying to kill carries whenever possible, but don't overextend or miss position to do so. Remember that your ultimate is there to be used to block the maximum burst possible on you or your teammates, so use it carefully and wisely. You should always remember that sometimes you're better off ulting your Fed AD carry than yourself. It all depends on the situation you're in. Lastly, let's look at some tips that can improve your Kayle play. Now, Kayle isn't a super flashy champion, nor is she complicated, so there's not much to say here. The biggest complaint that people mention when playing Kayle is that she pushes the lane too hard and then gets ganked. In lane, and especially versus melee matchups, you don't have to always have your E up. If you know there's not much the opponent can do to you, you can just walk up and last hit the minions in melee form. This allows you to control the wave better and ensure you don't over push. The other tip I can give is related to Rage Blade. Remember that attacking in melee form will grant you 2 stacks, so if you're pushing a wave or simply just want to stack up before going for a trade, you can do so in melee form to get max Rage Blade stacks in 4 autos instead of 8. That's going to be all for today. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the content, and I hope you guys enjoyed this pick of the week. I'll see you guys next week.